Hi, I'm Connor Mead, and I'm here today at the 2017 Canadian Science Policy Conference. And joining me today is Eric Meslin, President and CEO of the Council of Canadian Academies. So Eric, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks very much. Nice to be here.
So to start us off, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the Council of Canadian Academies, or CCA. What makes it important and what makes its work unique?
CCA has been around since 2005. It was established by the Government of Canada with the input and motivation and really the oomph from three of Canada's most prestigious national academies, the Royal Society of Canada, the Canadian Academy of Health Sciences, and the Canadian Academy of Engineering. And it was established to provide the government with the evidence that it wants to use or needs to use in making policy decisions. So the unique aspect of the CCA is that we cover the real waterfront of science, from the health sciences to engineering to technology. We're not limited to one area, but what we really focus on is bringing experts together, having them review the evidence that's available on a topic, and then giving that information in an organized and useful way. We don't make recommendations about policy so much as we provide the evidence available for others to make good decisions.
Fantastic. So what do you think is the main value and the main importance of incorporating evidence-based decision-making in the policy process and making sure to translate that into real policy impacts?
I think a lot of people have heard this phrase, evidence-based policy or evidence-informed decision-making. In a way, it's a very cute and charming expression because it's kind of like a bumper sticker. Everyone who's opposed to evidence, who's not interested in having facts. Well, it turns out that in the policy world, it's an awful lot like making sausage. There are things that go into it that are involving politics, that involve ethics, that involve personal views. But one of the most important parts of making good policy, whether it's at the municipal level or the federal level, is to have good facts on the ground to inform those decisions. So you know what works, what doesn't work, what other people are doing. Always good to have information before you jump off a cliff in a difficult policy area. The thing I think that makes us especially unique is that when we bring people together on our expert panels, and we've convened 43 panels over the last decade or so, on topics from children's medicine to the health effects of wind turbines to shale gas. We bring a multidisciplinary group together who deliberate, often over a year or more, on what the available evidence is, put it in a form that's useful and available to politicians as well as the civil service, and quite frankly, the public at large. So what I like to think about the CCA's contribution is it brings these experts together across a wide disciplinary perspective and puts this evidence in the hands of those who would use it in a way that they can use it. Unlike other organizations that might summarize the data in kind of a quick format, we actually delve very deeply in an objective way into that evidence, take no position on it, but try and provide the best available information.
Mm-hmm. So how do you go about the process of identifying what sorts of research projects and which sorts of expert panels will have the highest potential impacts, and selecting among the many different questions that CCA could choose to tackle?
It's a great question. The reality is we receive those requests from the Government of Canada. We've received requests from Minister Duncan since she's been Minister of Science, from formerly Industry Canada, now ISED, Industry, Science and Economic Development, through a process that I'll admit is a little bit cumbersome. It takes some time for the government machinery to get amped up, but it's a very important process of having these topics filter their way through the system and identify what is a priority. If I'm honest, I do think there should be a kind of a conversation that goes on within the broader community about what really are the important topics. CCA takes no position on what the most important is or the least important, but what we hope we can do, and we've had a number of these projects underway now, is that the work we do is useful to Canadians, is seen to be a priority, and not seen as a kind of waste of public dollars. I'll give you two examples. One of the projects we're working on right now, known to probably all of your viewers, is on medical assistance in dying. A massive topic, a very challenging topic. It invokes ethical, legal, social issues, and we're being asked to provide input on the current Canadian status of MAID, medical assistance in dying, in 3 areas involving mature minors, using advanced directives or advanced requests, and the very difficult topic of people who have mental disorders. Can they use them? In that case, the evidence that we're looking at is quite broad and quite diffuse. So only an organization that sort of takes the step of looking carefully at all this information, summarizing it in a way that's useful, I think will provide Canada and the public at large with the information they need to make good decisions.
Great, thank you. So there seems to be a real buzz right now about evidence-based policy, and people are very excited. I kind of get the feeling that we're in a bit of a unique context right now. So do you think that's an accurate assessment? And if so, what do you think is unique about Canada 2017, the context that we're in, that makes this a great opportunity for advocates of evidence-based policy?
I think you've really hit the nail on the head with sort of a little friendly amendment. I think it's absolutely clear that from the Prime Minister on down through his cabinet and really across government, there is an interest in and an excitement about the use of evidence, that science is back, that we're now in a position where Canada can really leverage its many strengths. These have been there all along, that we're now at a point where from the top down and the bottom up, we've got university presidents, we've got industry, NGOs, all starting to row in the same direction of trying to get what's best for Canada. The kind of caveat, and it's not opposing your point, but the caveat is the uniqueness of our position is in part a function of where we are in the global environment. So it's not a surprise to people that there's a government south of the border that is now looking at science in different ways than we do. I'm being diplomatic, not to be charming about it. I think it's a reality when you look at who President Trump is appointing to science-based departments. That's different from who Prime Minister Trudeau is. And yet we're all working in North America and across Europe towards similar goals. How do we get the best information available? How do we use science to make good decisions? Canada is in this unique position, and the window may be open only for a little while, a year or two, where we can get our science back to where it can be, where our policy environment can be brought back to where it really wants to be, and where I think a broad public conversation, not just the experts, experts are fabulous and we use them regularly, but we really want to take advantage of this time when Canada and Canadians are interested in science. They seem to trust science, not across the board and not blindly, but there's a good science culture at work. So I think this is where Canada's moment is. Take advantage of the opportunities, push our science forward.
Fantastic. Well, so my final question before we wrap up, I wonder if you could share for our viewers at home, where's the best place to go online to learn more about CCA and the important work you're doing?
Well, the easiest thing, of course, is that we have a website, which is www.scienceadvice.ca. It's a long title, but we have a full website that lists our reports, the ones in process now, the ones that we've completed. Things can be ordered online, reports that are underway, you can advance order them. Lots of information, and we're also promising to update that website very soon.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Eric Meslin of the Council of Canadian Academies. Eric, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.